Mekhi Becton, I got to be honest here. I've been a huge supporter of Mekhi Becton. I still am. I still believe, I know there's an all-pro ceiling on this young man. There just is. We saw it with our own eyes. I can't unsee him physically going toe-to-toe with the best pass rushers in the NFL as a rookie. Can't unsee it. And I think I've been really defensive of him. As a teacher, he's a young kid. And just to see guys on Twitter who are old enough to be his dad just basically bullying him, I think I've had a soft spot for Mekhi in that regard. Because I think he's a good kid. I really do. And he's easy to root for. Now, Dan Graziano is the last person to come out and give their 2 cents on Mekhi Becton and his weight and his conditioning. I'll say this. Of all the people who have chimed in from the cheap seats, this guy's as credentialed as any of them. This is different than Brady Quinn saying we're going 0-9 and Stephen A. Smith not knowing who's on our roster. Dan Graziano, to my knowledge, correct me if you know better, is a well-respected journalist. He's kind of an information guy, not really a takes guy. He's kind of, here's the details, here's the contract, here's the source, boom, boom, boom. Doesn't strike me as a clickbaity kind of guy. I think he was just answering a question. Here's what he said on ESPN when asked about Mekhi Becton, quote, "Well, I think they'd like to see him not be overweight. Sounds like an unfortunate situation. The Jets are at a point where they're frustrated and they don't know what to do with him." So as a Mekhi Becton supporter, I have to admit, when there's this much smoke, even if there's not a forest fire, there's got to be some embers. This can't be a grand conspiracy theory between the Jets beat and Boomer and Graziano and even Coach Saleh not being committal on Mekhi's weight and conditioning when he went out of his way to comment about it on other players. And look, none of this is going to be solved until he lines up and takes a snap against the Ravens out to September 11th. But I've had people, when I bring up this topic, say, I don't care if he weighs 600 pounds as long as he can play. That's crazy. That's naive to think there's no correlation between Mekhi's weight and his play and his durability. So I'm not going to squabble about how much he weighs. I have no idea. I have no idea how to look at a human being that size and try and eyeball the difference between 370 and 380 or whatever. Okay? But I'll say this. Even if Mekhi Becton is at his playing weight, like when he was drafted, 370, does he need to be that big? Does Mekhi Becton need to weigh 45 pounds more than George Fant when Mekhi's 6'7" and George is 6'6" and they both play the same position? Does Mekhi need to weigh 25 pounds more than Evan Neal, who's 6'7.5" with longer arms and is a gargantuan offensive tackle in his own right? So we know Mekhi Becton can be dominant at 370. We saw it at Louisville. We saw it as a rookie. But can Mekhi Becton be durable and have longevity in this league at this weight? In fact, I'd argue, would you make the trade of losing some of that juice and that dominance at a weight like 340, but in exchange, we're getting more durability and more longevity? I'd make that trade. And when you look around the league, we don't have a lot to compare this to. Google heaviest players in NFL history. Only about a dozen guys in league history build at 365, 370 plus. And you look for offensive tackles to compare Mekhi Becton to who are in the game now. Closest thing would be Trent Brown, offensive tackle, New England Patriots. Listed at 6'8", and they bill him anywhere from 365 to 380. I'm guessing it fluctuates a lot. And just like Mekhi, Trent Brown is an all-pro ceiling. Excellent ball player. And a good dude, just like I believe Mekhi is. However, Trent Brown has missed 24 games in the last 3 years. He's been with 3 different teams. It's his second stint with the Patriots, and he has a weight clause in his contract. So I have no idea how much Mekhi Becton weighs. But I'm starting to believe that there has to be some smoldering to this smoke that has me somewhat concerned. And even if Mekhi Becton's at his playing weight, is it ideal for him to be that big? Those are some questions I have. Anyway, Mekhi Becton was good enough to be one of my top 16 Jets. You can see the other 15 by clicking the link below. Subscribe if you're new. We'll talk ball soon.